There's something so painful about feeling loneliness or about thinking you're alone. And usually that pain creeps up in moments of like solitude, of sadness, of grief, of loss, of trial and tribulation. Like the list can go on and on. There's so many moments where we kind of are reminded that, like, damn, we ain't got no friends or whatever. Then there's the other side of it. If you're a true no friend person, or if you're a true person with no friends, there's the other side of it where it's like, it's not that you're a horrible person. It's just that you don't know how to build those connections. And so you actually do have friends. You do have people who care about you and who reach out here and there because you're not like a toxic human being, but you just don't prioritize those connections, or you just don't like know how to continue it. You know what I mean? Or you don't see the benefit in continuing it, or there's so many like reasons for not being able to keep up a relationship. And so you actually kind of feel guilty saying you don't have friends. Cuz I do have friends, but I don't have friends. Like, does that even make sense? If you know, you know. And this video is for people who know. Basically, I just want this video to feel like a friend. Like, I want you to watch this and feel like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what situation I'm in. And everybody's life and everybody's experience, everybody's story is different. Friendship is taxing, but it's also beneficial. It's nice to have a different perspective on whatever situations you're going through. It's nice to feel comfortable enough in sharing your, like, you know, sharing what's actually going on in your life, being able to build a relationship with someone where you can be vulnerable, somebody who's a stranger, who's not thinking about you being, you know what I mean, like how they could take advantage of you, somebody who's just there because of your personality, not because you have kids with them or because you're gonna marry them or because you're a business partner. Like, friendship is a very selfless act. There's always two sides, right? So where there are people who are so good at building community and are so good at keeping up friendships, there are people who are just not, either they're not good at it, they don't prioritize it, or they just don't feel like they're capable. And I think identifying why you don't have friends is the first step in understanding whether or not you're actually on the right journey. Because sometimes, like, if you feel like you don't have friends and it makes you really sad, maybe you should try to build that community in other ways. Thankfully, it's 2023. So there's the internet, there's redefining your whole definition of a friendship, you know, remolding what that means to you in your head. I don't know about you, but me, I don't like suffering. I don't want to suffer. So if I see that like something is not working for me, or if I see that I'm doing something that is not aligning with my higher self, the first thing I want to do is I want to fix it. I want to change it. I want to see what I can do to be better, because at the end of the day, I'm playing in this avatar. It's just me. There's nobody else that's responsible for my actions. There's nobody else that I can blame for my life. Like, there's nobody but me. I'm the only player. I'm the only character. It's me. Like, so whenever I get in those moods, or whenever I feel like, I don't know, I'm watching a show and there's a really strong friendship, or I'm going through something and I feel like I don't have friends, or I realize that my only friends are related to me by blood. It's just really like, it can get sad sometimes, especially when you're going through, like I said, like when you're going through something. So what I like to do is I always like to remind myself of why I am where I am, why I am who I am, what has caused me to become who I am. That's why self-awareness is so important. And I encourage you to embark on that journey, especially if you don't have friends. Now is the perfect time for self-awareness, because that's one of the reasons why I don't like having friends that much, is because I start to form like it's like a lack of individuality. And when you grow up where, like, okay, I'm going to give you a little backstory. My childhood was like no friends allowed. No friends allowed in the sleepovers, no friends allowed at anywhere. I remember once I was actually told that, like, if I had a best friend and I had better grades than her, I had to not be her friend anymore. So I was instructed to go to school and tell her I'm not her friend. This is a fourth grader, by the way. So like, some of us, we don't have friends because of trauma. But I hate talking. I remember, you know, I was told, I was set on a mission, like, you know, you can't be friends with this person because you have higher grades than them. All I knew was that when I got home that day, I was not allowed to be friends with this best friend of mine. And so what I did is I went up to this person because I was so eager in pleasing, you know, my elders, I guess, whatever you want to call it, that I told her that if she doesn't throw away my apple, I'm not going to be friends with her. And I knew she wouldn't because she's my best friend. This was my like elementary school best friend. I knew she wouldn't throw away the apple. I knew she would look at me and be like, what did you say? Like, I knew exactly who I was dealing with. So I knew whatever I said next had to end the friendship. This is very traumatizing, I know. So I asked her to throw away my apple in a very mean way, and then she said no. And then I said, okay, well, I can't be your friend. So yeah. Then we were not best friends. Ever. After that. But yeah, some of us, like, not having friends comes from a very painful place. And it's a little bit less that, like, it's just I've come to a point in my life where it's like when I reassess my traumas, instead of just being upset about it and like blaming the situation, what I actually do now is see how I can just work with it. Like, how can I work with that? Am I somebody who does want friends? You know what I mean? Like, do I find that important? What benefits can I have from, friendships? What I prefer, like, what do I prefer to do? If you don't understand that you technically don't need anybody to survive, like, you don't need anybody. Fully understanding that concept, you realize that everybody in your life is there because you choose to keep them there. And if these people are not benefiting you, or they're kind of stressing you, or they're giving you X, Y, and Z, it's so hard to sacrifice your peace for chaos. It's so hard to sacrifice your peace for something that is just a feeling, a temporary feeling, and that feeling is loneliness. Understanding yourself, understanding your traumas, understanding your story, and then using that as a filter to understand what you're going through in this exact moment is crucial. It's crucial because now that I understand that I was never taught to nurture these connections, I was never taught to prioritize friendships, to prioritize people I have things in common with. Now that I can understand that it's not because I'm a bad person. It's not because people don't like me. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie to you. You get to pick what reality you live in, okay? If you're trying your best, if you are constantly trying to improve yourself, if you're holding yourself accountable for the things you say, if you're trying to be a helpful human being, like if you are actually trying, because you know when you're trying and you know when you're not trying, you know it's not something that can be written. Like there's no list or quiz you can take that will determine whether or not you're a good person, right? But it's something you know because you're either actively working towards understanding yourself, you're actively just trying to do good, then you know you're not a bad person. And if you feel like you need more connections, then try to make more connections. I know the pros of not having friends. I get to have more, like I get to manage my own time a lot better, especially since I'm a mom. Like I prefer to have my me time. I prefer to be in these type of settings rather than in public settings where I'm speaking to like multiple people. Like I know that that's who I am. And I don't even know if I said this before, but I enjoy being able to occupy my time how I want to. Some people enjoy sharing experiences. For me, it's like I like to just be in control of my time. And instead of forcing a friendship and either sacrificing being in control of my time or being in control of my time and affecting that person, I rather just I know I have self-awareness. I rather just be alone. And then it's also that saying of like the grass is always greener on the other side. That's something I've heard. That's something I listen to, and that's something I believe because yeah, it's a cop-out, but there's hacks in GTA. Why can't there be hacks in your brain? Like convincing yourself that you don't want something because the grass is always greener on the other side in order to give yourself some time to heal and grow and to see exactly what you want is not evil. Okay, it's called a hack. It's like for me, when I was on my curly hair journey, I'm like I want to straighten my hair, I want to curl my hair, I want to do all this and that I'm doing now, but it's like it wasn't the time. So I had to tell myself the grass is always greener on the other side. Now that I'm on the other side, I want to get my curly hair back. Like, you have to be going through life understanding what you've been through in the past and how that affects you now and how you want to proceed with it in the future. Again, it's nobody's responsibility but your own. Having friends, not having friends, there needs to be both in order for this concept to even be alive. You know, like if every single human being had a strong set of friends like the show Or like, I don't know what other shows people watch with friends. There's so many shows with friendships that are like, that don't even seem real, but whatever. When you watch those things, you need to be strong in your like self-awareness. You need to be strong in who you are as a person. In order for those relationships to like exist, there needs to be the opposite. This whole world is made of opposites. And that's one thing that actually helps me in a lot of aspects of my life. Like understanding that like there's always an opposite. Like every statement I've ever made has a complete opposite with a community to back it up. So there's no right, there's no wrong. And enjoy what chapter you are in life. Like be accepting, be present. Don't give yourself the ick of your own life. Don't gross yourself out from the trauma and experiences you endured as a human being. Not because you wanted to, but because that's just your journey. You don't need friends. You need to know how you want to occupy your time, because essentially it comes down to that. How do you want to occupy your time? Get to know yourself. And not having friends is okay, because at the end of the day, you are all you need. I love you with all my heart, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really looking forward to making more videos like this where I can help, talk, chat, and share my experience of a friendless hero. See you in my next video. Same place, same time. Okay, good.